A seat at the table. The crystal accord dome on Selverin, 5 shimmered with light refracted through walls of living quartz. The most powerful species in the galaxy had gathered beneath its towering spires to prevent a war that could tear civilizations apart. The Uarzan Dominion, armored and arrogant. The Ellerai Collective, radiant and cold. The insectoid Tlaxa, the methane-breathing Goral, and the silent, crystalline Vaughn. And humanity, young, underestimated, and seated at the edge like a child among gods. Their representative did not speak. She did not smile. She barely moved. The Uarzan scoffed when they saw her. "This is what Earth sends," rumbled High Marshal Karvok, his scaled jowls flaring. "A corpse in rags." Baba Yaga said nothing. She sat hunched beneath layers of patchwork cloth, brown, gray, and faded crimson, hands folded over a gnarled cane that hadn't touched the floor once. Her face was a withered mask of pale skin and deep wrinkles, eyes hidden beneath a tangled veil of gray hair. If she breathed, no one saw it. "Perhaps they misunderstand the gravity of this meeting," murmured the Ellerai diplomat, telepathic voice ringing through the minds of all. "Or perhaps it is a show of disrespect." Human Ambassador Cormac adjusted his collar and gave a polite, non-committal smile. "Humanity sends whom it trusts. Trusts to do what?" The Tlaxa translator clicked through a filtered vocalizer. "Haunt our nightmares." Across the hall, one of the younger Ellerai, a glimmering youth with golden skin, dared to probe her mind. The moment their psychic tendril brushed against hers, they screamed and fell backward, clutching their skull. "She's warded," the elder Ellerai hissed. "No," said Cormac softly. "She's awake." That was the first sign something was wrong. The summit proceeded barely. The Dominion accused the Collective of arming fringe systems along the Zeta border. The Collective countered with accusations of Uarzan warbeast deployments and slavery in disputed regions. Every race brought grievances, charts, fleet numbers, territorial maps. Each tried to outmatch the other through clever threats and subtle power plays. And through it all, Baba Yaga sat unmoved. Not once did she glance toward the speaker. Not once did her hands twitch. Not once did her breath fog the air in the cool chamber. Yet every diplomat, every delegate, every aide felt her there, as if gravity bent differently around her, as if they were insects on glass, and she was the hand raised above. "Is she some kind of psychic deterrent?" a Goral muttered. "She's just a myth," another delegate insisted. "Then why," said Avon with its crystalline fingers trembling slightly, "do the stars dim when she looks up?" As the second session began, High Marshal Karvok took a direct shot. "You send this to the table of peace?" he growled. "Humanity has no fleets in this war, no stake in the accord. You are tolerated only for appearances, and you send a frail meat puppet in stolen robes." Still nothing from Baba Yaga. He bared his fangs. "We have scanned her. No weaponry, no armor, not even internal augments. Just a stick and dust." Then, for the first time, she moved. Not a shift, not a flinch. One pale finger rose, slow as moonrise, and touched the air. Every light in the dome flickered. Outside, above Selverin 5, the WM's Claw, and Uarzan battlecruiser went dark. Dead. Its fusion core was later found vitrified, turned into smooth, clear glass. Not destroyed, transformed. The room fell silent. "You accuse," Ambassador Cormac said gently, "but it was you who forgot the price of our silence." The marshal roared and stood, his claws flexing. "Are you threatening?" "No," Cormac said. "We're still observing." Baba Yaga lowered her finger. The light returned, and something deeper, something older, began to stir. That night, rumors spread like plasma fire through the summit's quarters. Some said she was a relic of Earth's first contact wars. Others swore she was a clone of a Russian war witch from the pre-space era, kept alive by soul-bonding nanites. A few whispered she was not human at all, but a god who had chosen Earth as her cradle. Whatever the truth, one fact remained. The peace talks would continue only under the shadow of her silence. And if she ever stood up, it would mean the peace was already dead. The legend walks. They called her Baba Yaga, but that wasn't her name. Not truly. In ancient Earth folklore, Baba Yaga lived in a walking hut, flew through the sky in a mortar, and devoured those who entered her forest. A witch, a guardian, a monster. The line blurred. But legends tend to endure because they have roots in truth. The galaxy didn't believe in Earth myths. Not until the day Baba Yaga was deployed to the Orion Uprising. No official record of that event survived. Not publicly. Unofficially, every intelligent species knew the same whisper. She arrived alone. The rebellion ended in 47 minutes. The moon is still uninhabitable, though not destroyed. Just wrong. Twisted. The soil sings. The stars over it bend. It was the first and last time humanity allowed her into the field. Now at the Crystal Accord Dome, that same woman sat in silence. Watching. Or not watching. Who could tell? Karvok's bluster had withered since the WRM's claw fell silent. The LRI avoided eye contact with the human delegation. Delegates reviewed their notes more carefully. Their voices softened. Pride took a step back and survival stepped forward. The Vaughn speaker, glowing gently in pale light, broke the silence of the second day's session. We propose a mutual demilitarized zone within the Draxel Rift, supervised jointly, rotating command between the three dominant parties. The Uarzon general rumbled low. The rift is ours by blood claim. Our ancestors spilled rivers of flame, securing those asteroids. The LRI priestess offered a cool smile. Yet, in the present, your war beasts are grazing along the LRI corridor. Ambassador Cormac scribbled something in his pad. Beside him, Baba Yaga tilted her head by a degree. The dome's temperature dropped a full 3 degrees. Delegates looked at each other. She doesn't approve, someone muttered. You don't know that, another whispered. But they all fell silent just the same. That night, while others returned to their suites, the LRI priestess sought answers. She entered the restricted chamber beneath the dome, a place only the psychically attuned could access. There, beneath a lattice of floating crystal prisms, she sat cross-legged and focused her mind on the anomaly called Baba Yaga. A whisper reached back. Not a thought, not a voice. A forest. She saw twisted birch trees. A crooked house on chicken legs. A fire that burned blue. She smelled meat, fresh and raw, and the iron of old blood. The sky was wrong. The stars were too close. Watching. Then a shadow loomed. The priestess screamed. In the morning, her eyes were bloodshot. Her hair had turned completely white. She did not speak again. Ever. Whispers spread beyond the dome. Across the orbital relays and diplomatic channels, species began contacting their intelligence divisions. Who is she? Do the humans control her? Is she an AI? A weapon? A summoning? None of those. And all of them. Only a few knew that Baba Yaga wasn't born. She was appointed. The last line of defense in humanity's darkest doctrine. When diplomacy ends, we send the one who ends all alternatives. She had no clearance code, no official title, just a seat, and the patience of stone. Midway through the third session, a minor outburst rippled through the assembly. The Tlaxa envoy, emboldened by a private communique from the Uarzon, attempted a show of force. They triggered a concealed drone, meant to hover menacingly over the dome. Harmless, but intimidating. The signal was sent from within the chamber. The drone never arrived. In orbit, it detonated prematurely, turned inside out mid-flight. No explosion, just inversion. A ribbon of glowing metal dropped from the sky and embedded itself into the ground outside the dome. It still pulsed, whispering in languages no one recognized. Baba Yaga had not moved, but she was smiling. Or perhaps the folds of her skin shifted that way. No one could tell for sure. Finally, the Uarzon general lost patience. This summit is a joke. You bring weapons cloaked in women's skin and expect peace. Ambassador Cormac remained seated. Calm. We brought a listener. You brought threats. Only one of us has silenced a warship without firing shot. You would provoke galactic war? You provoked something worse, Cormac said quietly, gesturing toward her. You woke her up. Baba Yaga rose. Slowly, mechanically. as if the air resisted her, as if the world tried to hold her down and failed. She stood tall, taller than she had appeared while sitting. Her spine straightened. Her cane cracked as roots sprouted from its tip and coiled gently into the floor. Then the dome breathed, not metaphorically. The walls bent inward and outward once. A slow, full inhale. Delegates dropped their datapads. Some fell to their knees. The Vaughn shattered one of its own limbs in panic. She turned and walked out of the chamber, barefoot. Her cane clacked once, then fell silent. No one stopped her. No one even stood. The summit was over. And the galaxy had just been reminded, humans did not come to be ruled. They came with legends. And one had just walked away. The piece that wasn't. The crystal Accord dome had no windows, and yet the sunlight fell dimmer. Baba Yaga had left without a word. Not a single threat. Not a declaration. But her silence echoed louder than any fleet. The remaining delegates sat frozen, as if sudden movement might trigger something worse. Even the Uarzan general, once fire and thunder, kept his voice low now. The Ellerai murmured in tight, psychic loops, shielding their thoughts. The Tlaxa twitched nervously, antennae bent forward in fear. She is gone, the Vaughn speaker finally said, as if saying it aloud might make it true. Perhaps now we may continue. Ambassador Cormac gave a tired smile. She only leaves when you've already made your decision. You just haven't admitted it yet. What decision? The Ellerai snapped. Cormac's eyes flicked to the table. To lie. To use this summit as cover for war. The silence cracked like thin ice. Evidence came next. Presented plainly, almost gently. A human intelligence packet, submitted to the Council. Satellite images of Ellerai warships gathering in stealth orbit near disputed sectors. Uarzan forward bases already deployed in the demilitarized rift, predating the summit's start. Leaked communications between both sides, confirming plans to strike each other during the ceremonial handshake. Neither side denied it. They simply stared at each other. You both planned to betray the peace, Cormac said, to end it in blood and blame each other. The peace was a tool, growled Karvok. A pause, nothing more. It was a performance, added the Ellerai diplomat coldly. For the minor races. For trade partners. For the illusion of reason. And Baba Yaga? Cormac asked, voice low. They didn't answer. They didn't have to. She wasn't part of the performance. Then came a message. A transmission, encoded in an impossible waveform. Not from ship. Not from any known relay. It broadcast directly into the Accord dome's core systems. The screens dimmed. The air shimmered. You have chosen. One voice. Female. Ageless. Grainy like wind through bones. There will be no more lies. The floor trembled. The dome's fail-safes engaged, then instantly shut down. All shields offline. All weapon detection systems fried. Communications jammed. Every diplomatic safeguard, designed to prevent assassination, sabotage, or psychic intrusion, disabled at once. No one had touched a control. She's still here, someone whispered. She never left. General Karvok stood, slowly. We can still salvage this, he said. We coordinate. Expose the human deception. Frame it as coercion. The other species will rally, too. His aide screamed. Everyone turned. Blood streamed from the Uarzan's ears and nose as he collapsed, seizing. His datapad had tried to access Earth's classified diplomatic archive. Just once. A defense mechanism? A warning? Or punishment? Cormac didn't react. His hands were folded. His expression unreadable. This summit is dead, he said quietly. But the lesson stands. You came here, he said, sweeping his gaze across the hall, to outweed each other. You forgot who was listening. She saw through you before the first word was spoken. The delegates began to rise, slowly. Fear was now thick in the air, primitive, primal. This wasn't political anymore. It was survival. One of the Tlaxa fainted. The Goral began mouthing prayers to its methane gods. The Vaughn emitted a tone that caused the walls to ripple in sympathy. The Ellerai leaned in. You brought a monster into our peace. No, Cormac said. We brought a reminder of what comes after peace fails. He stood. She was never going to speak. She came to see if the galaxy still had ears. Outside the dome, the sky darkened. Clouds, not native to Selverin, 5, formed above the summit site. No ships, no weather manipulation, just clouds, dense and heavy, rolling in from nowhere, flashing with silent lightning. Then thunder, but not from above, from below. The earth beneath the dome groaned. Ambassador Cormac turned to leave. "Where are you going?" the Uarzan demanded. "Home," Cormac said simply. "We have no more use for diplomacy here." A new transmission pulsed across local space. This time, it wasn't encrypted. It played simultaneously in the minds of every ship captain, soldier, and civilian across the system. "The summit has ended. Return to your homes. Prepare your hearts." The forest walks, and then the stars blinked, literally blinked, just once in sequence across half the visible sky, as if something massive passed between them and the void. Not a ship, not a weapon, just a presence, one older than the treaties, older than the war, older even than the stars themselves. In the abandoned war room beneath the dome, an LRI psychic later tried to read the remnants of the dome's memory core. They found a single image, a hut, with legs, tall as mountains, walking through a forest of stars. What follows the silence? The peace summit was never officially declared closed. There were no signatures, no recorded declarations. The delegates simply left, one by one, systems scrambling to withdraw their representatives under diplomatic cover, though there was nothing diplomatic about the panic. War had not yet come, but neither had peace. A vacuum had opened, and in it, fear grew like mold. 3 days after Baba Yaga walked out of the Crystal Accord dome, the starship First Radiance, an LRI battlecruiser, vanished from local scans. No explosion, no distress call, just gone. 7 minutes later, a pod drifted into the outer orbit of Selverin 5. Inside, it was the Radiance's captain, aged 3 centuries beyond his actual age. Skin fossilized, eyes open, still screaming. No one claimed responsibility. Humanity didn't have to. In the Uarzan home system, across a chain of frontier colonies, crops began failing overnight. Entire hydro farms turned sour. Livestock birthed stillborn young with wooden bones and candle wax eyes. The Dominion blamed Earth's shadow networks. Ambassador Cormac denied everything. "We don't need to attack you," he said over a secure channel. "We just needed her to look at you." The line went silent after that. The Uarzan did not respond, but they began relocating their war beast breeding centers. Underground, beneath temples, as if dirt could save them. On the third moon of Galen 6, the Tlaxa government made a show of solidarity, burning a straw effigy shaped like the human witch. It streamed across their networks. It was meant to insult, meant to provoke. But when they reviewed the footage, every single frame showed something else in the background. A house with legs. No one had seen it at the time, but it was there, clear as day, behind every camera, flickering between frames like it didn't belong to time. Within 12 hours, the Tlaxa Prime Nest voluntarily surrendered all military satellites near Earth space. Not out of fear of war, but of visitation. Meanwhile, on Earth, Baba Yaga did not return. Cormac knew better than to expect her. She didn't follow human command. She listened and acted, or didn't. She was not a soldier, not a diplomat, not even a deterrent in the traditional sense. She was the answer to a question that should never be asked. And that answer had just walked away from the table. The Accord failed, but war didn't break out. Not exactly. Something had shifted. No one dared fire the first shot now. Not because they feared Earth's military, but because of what Earth might wake up next. The Vaughn, oldest of the known species, said it best in a quiet, crystalline message to its allies. Humanity's strength is not in its fleets or firepower. It is in its fables. They have fed their nightmares until they obeyed. Across the galaxy, navies stood down. Border patrols intensified. Treaties were quietly rewritten with greater respect and distance for the Terran sphere. Human embassies received more gifts, more offerings, more respectful silences. And in secret, every major civilization began researching Earth's folklore. They compiled databases of spirits, legends, gods, and monsters. They didn't understand that the scariest thing about Baba Yaga wasn't her powers. It was that she was not unique. Earth had others. Some slept beneath ice shelves. Some were etched into forgotten forest groves. Some lived in storybooks that no one dared open. Humanity didn't rule the galaxy. They warned it. Ambassador Cormac stood on the deck of the Terran vessel Wind's Dagger, watching Selvarin, 5 grows smaller in the viewport. The planet glittered with crystalline domes and artificial gardens. Peaceful, shining, empty. No one would return there. Not for peace. Not ever again. Sir, his aide asked quietly. Did we win? Cormac considered the question. No, he said after a moment. We reminded them why we shouldn't have to. In a vacuum left by the summit's collapse, something else began to take root. A quiet kind of diplomacy. Humble, careful, between mid-tier civilizations. Small alliances. Gentle gestures. No one tried to strong-arm each other. No grand empires thundered threats. Everyone, for once, looked behind them before speaking too loudly, just in case she was listening. A year later, on a desolate moon in a forgotten system, a Goral mining crew found something. A hut. No airlocks. No doors. Perched on 2 massive chicken legs, still as stone. Half buried in dust and silence. They sent no report. They simply left. Sealed the shaft. Blocked the records. And never spoke of it again. But the stars above that moon twinkled strangely. As if they remembered something. As if they watched. As if they waited.